And so maybe walk me through the process of kind of changes within a thermoset material in a SLS process. So typically you'd have like a nylon 12, nylon 11. It melts around 190, let's call it. And so the laser melts it, the area or that specific layer. More powder goes on top. You melt that layer, and you kind of keep going until the part's done, and then it all cools down, and everything's kind of at an elevated temperature. With a thermoset, I imagine you don't want to get like there's a delicate balance, right? Or you have to have some sort of other mechanism you need it to melt, but if it cures, you got a big problem in your SLS machine, right? And so thermal balancing, or however you want to cure it, is a little bit less straightforward, maybe to say than like a PA, than a typical thermoplastic in PA12 and in SLS. So maybe just walk us through like how does it actually work? Like how do you get a thermoset out in an SLS system?
Yeah, basically the steps are more or less the same. We have a preheating step, but the printing happens not at 160 to 250 degrees, depending on the material, but at 60 to 80 degrees because of our thermosetting materials. And then the laser scans the area that you want to have the parts as long as until the part is ready. And then you put the cake out of the printer and break out the parts of the cake and sandblast it. There you need to be a bit careful because these parts are basically green parts. You don't have the mechanical strength that you would normally have with thermoplastic materials, but you can get them out, and afterwards you put it into the oven for a post-curing step. This is additional to the other market materials, and there when you have plain parts, for example, testing specimen for HDT or so, you can just put it onto a PTFE plate. But if you have design technically more complex parts, you put it into a salt bath, and the salt just supports the part, because when you heat it up, it gets soft a bit, and with the salt it doesn't deform. And after the post-curing, you have a stiff part depending on which material you are using, and have high mechanical properties and high thermal properties and chemical resistance, and the other advantages thermosetting material has.
Be sure to check out our website, www.3degreescompany.com, for more content.